Good evening and welcome to the Mood Mentor Mental Health Awareness Lockdown 3 show this time. No, I shouldn't laugh. It's definitely a big step forward since last week in what's happening, and Dawn's going to talk to us a little bit about that today. I had a cancellation last minute this week, so Dawn has brilliantly agreed to come back after her very interesting and wonderful technical juggle last time with me. We had some camera issues trying to do it through the original Facebook Live. But Dawn has agreed to come back tonight and take the conversation a little further around some of the topics she has to do with healing. And it's almost as if it's meant to happen, because we've just had a little back screen, and it's almost as this is meant to happen tonight with what Dawn wants to talk about. So serendipity is the word of the night, I think. So welcome
Absolutely.
back, Dawn.
Thank you so much, Kate. And I've got to be honest, I've not been in the best space, but when you said about coming on and doing this live show, I just thought, right, I'm ready now. And I think for every one of us, I think we need to be grateful for what is actually happening in our lives in the strangest way. Just go, it is as it is.
Yeah. And I think as it is, gratitude at the moment is going to become such a massive word this year. But like you said, it's in the strangest of ways to find it. Like for me, lockdown 2 was the gratitude of, every author's dream was to have 28 days undisturbed lockdown to write a book. I'm going to make the most of it. But because now we're going straight into another lockdown and a lot harsher. So it's how to find further gratitude, isn't it?
I think, for me, I think, first of all, I'm really grateful to be here today, Kay, because I think there are so many people at the moment who are struggling, and there's only a handful of people who reach out for help. And I still find that a little bit strange that there are so few people do reach out. So, I'm grateful for the opportunity to share, what I understand is a way forward for people.
Okay, but I've got somebody trying, sorry, bear with me a sec. I've got somebody trying to watch us. Got a Rachel trying to get in.
Oh, Rachel Miller, that'll be probably.
Rachel Morley.
Oh, Morley, that's one, yes.
Yeah, she's trying to get in and can't. If you're on here, can you just pop a message on the comments so we know you've got in okay, Rachel?
Okay.
I think Yvette's in okay. I'm hoping we're not having Yvette can't get on. Okay, we are having problems with this. This is unusual. We don't normally have a problem people getting on. It hasn't gone live for some reason. What I might have to do is unfortunately cut this one off. I know we've got 3 people watching as well, so I don't want to cut them off. If you are watching, can you just say hi? Oh, Rachel's on, thank you. And if you're in here, can you let us know?
Hi, Rachel. Is there anything I can do my end, Kay?
I don't think there is. I don't even know what I can do, to be honest.
Okay. Should we carry on talking? And
yeah, I think so, because I'm not sure what's happening. So anyway, hi Rachel, thank you. I'm glad you've found your way into the room. It's not normal for Yvette not to get in, because she watches every single one. So if she hasn't got in, that's really unusual.
I think that kind of goes with what I was going to talk about today, Rachel. Oh, Rachel's there as well. Okay, because I think, with everything that's happening right now, I would say everybody just expect the unexpected, but don't let it alarm you.
No. And here we come back saying we come back to retake because we had technical issues last time. And now it looks like there's some tonight, which I've not encountered with StreamYard before. So it's possible there is an issue her end and she'll find a way in a minute. If not, she'll catch the replay later, but I'm not going to cut out because we have people watching. So, there we go. We've diverted for a few minutes, but compared to about the 15 minutes it took us to set up last time, we're still only 3 minutes in. So this is pretty good.
I think we've done good. I think what I'd like to talk about tonight is, yes, first of all, this situation that's gone on in the world has thrown so many people. And even me, who's, I'm normally pretty good at keeping myself quite balanced. It has thrown me out of the water. Some days I wake up and I just feel grouchy, and that's it, end of story. I can't pretend that I'm not that way, because, otherwise it undoes everything I tell people. Be honest about how you're feeling. And I would say that would be the first step for everybody who's listening today, who comes to listen to this. Put your hand up and say, this is what I'm feeling today. Because if you keep dismissing how you're feeling and just trying to plod through the day and get on with things and push yourself to do things and get, more and more stressed, basically you don't feel valued.
No, that's really good advice, actually, to admit how you're feeling. I like that one. Yeah.
But also take it out your head and maybe jot it down, or I pick up my phone and record it and say, do you know what, today this has got to be just one of those days, but I've got to take 2 minutes or maybe 5 minutes if I've got 5 minutes, and I just take 5 minutes just to breathe in, just breathe, and thank God for my breath. Thank God I'm still breathing today. And it might sound really ridiculous things, but the things that we take for granted are the things which can trigger the oxytocin in the brain if you start appreciating them.
Yes. Oh, that's really good, actually. Yeah, nice advice.
Just something really simple so that we can actually start the day with a different mindset. And, for me, I start off with a big smile on my face, even if I don't want to, and make that smile come out. And, that triggers part of the brain to go, this is going to be a better day. And then we start thinking about things we're grateful for, people we're grateful for. And I give my body time to stretch out and just appreciate what's going on with my body.
Yeah.
Because, as we get older, Kay, I don't know about you, but little bits of me don't work as well as they used to.
Yes. I know that one. You were saying about breathing. For me, that's usually taking time to sort of be grateful that, yes, like you say, firstly, I'm awake, I'm breathing, because for many years, waking up in the morning was actually about not breathing very effectively at all. So just to be able to wake up and breathe and be able to crawl out of bed without help is a good start. But it's like you say, being aware, and for me, it's that mindfulness thing all the way down the body. Which bits hurt? Which bits are going to move today? Which bits have I got to shift and relax before I get out of bed? So age is not always kind.
Yeah. So, taking that stage further to what you just said, Kay, as maybe. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I thought that was you shouting then.
That's the return of my son. He's not quite moved yet. He picked a really great day. Sorry, everybody. I'm on Facebook Live, Jamie. Do you want to be a part of it? Hi, Lewis. He's dragged a friend in tonight. Oh, Bunny. Come on, mate. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, of all the days in the world, I just want to be calm. Shh. Good boy. Good boy. Now you can hear everybody. Sorry, everybody.
Okay. Bless her.
But life keeps throwing us, doesn't it? But what I think is most important for anybody, if you honour what you're going through, and don't try and dismiss it. And last year we said, "Oh, Barney, oh my goodness me, do you want to go outside for walkies?" No, he's got to join in, Kay. So if you get a little dog pop up, that's him. Look, here he is.
It's all right. I've got another friend trying to message me, so I'm just going to share the link with her as well.
Okay.
So little ping-ups come up, so I'm just going to share this, and she might watch it.
Okay. So my thought is, as you're waking up in the morning, you said like all the bits hurting and that, give a little bit extra time and stretching out those parts of your body. Maybe just do a little mini massage, like on your knees or on your shoulders, or just do a little bit more relaxation before you move. Because if you set a goal to do those 3 small things in the morning, at least you've accomplished something, and then your brain starts being in solution mode instead of problem mode.
Yeah.
And even Barney's agreeing with this one.
Okay. Yep. Brilliant timing. Yeah. So so it's really good. So just little things to get your oxytocin going in the morning. That's a good word to use. Did you know even that word makes you feel happy saying it, doesn't it? Is the word oxytocin. But yeah, that's really nice. We've got good people coming in tonight. We've got my son Matthew, he's in the room now. Hi, and Yvette's made it in, and we've got Gail Young this evening. So welcome to everybody.
Hi, Gail. Hi, Rachel. Okay, and some of the things that we actually have normally been taken for granted, I think it's really important just to take a step back and observe what we've been taking for granted. And it sounds so simple, but just saying I've got to set a goal to do 3 things in the morning, including give my dog a big hug when he needs it. Okay, as it's going to be. It's a message to your brain which says, I am looking for solutions right now. Instead, I'm stuck in the problem.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah. Because your brain can't think of 2 things at once. It's impossible. Yeah. And when I was actually thinking about what am I going to talk about today, because it was quite last moment, okay, I thought I had this image of like Norwich train station, and there's like 6 tracks. Okay, and we get on the train which says I'm going to Liverpool Street, and then the train thing says, oh, actually that one gets there quicker, and what we do, we keep jumping from that track to that track, And our mind keeps saying, should I or shouldn't I? Should I, shouldn't I? And with every thought, you have an emotional attachment.
Yes. Yeah.
And with all this indecision and this worry and this stress that's going on right now, your mind is constantly in survival mode.
Yeah.
It's constantly in that state of what I'd call a primitive state of survival, where it actually feels like it's been attacked.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, stress is a response to attack or threat.
Yeah.
In primitive state, stress was there for a reason, to keep you safe.
Yeah,
But in today's world, we're stressing about things that are not attacking us.
Yeah,
But
they're
the
not
body
attacking
still
us,
reacts as though
but
we're
our
being
mind
attacked.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our mind that often attacks us more than what the things around us that do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But you know, I think for another thing is like increase the things that you know are good for you, like drinking more water and healthy foods, and if you can get out for a little walk,
Yeah.
you know, just really small, simple goals, and write that list down before you go to bed at night. Just before you drift off to sleep, I've got something that I want to aim for tomorrow, and because you've done those, your mind feels better. Your body is reacting accordingly. You bring in the endorphins, and then you feel more adventurous and courageous to take that next step.
Yeah.
Polly's doing more talk than we are tonight. I'm so sorry about this. Okay.
Gratitude is having a pet to hug. I did consider getting a goldfish, but I never got down the garden centre in time.
Okay. But, you know, if I could. Oh, bless you. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to ask my son to entertain him for a moment.
Okay.
Just talk amongst yourselves, everybody. Jamie,
No, that's really nice. It's really
good
lovely.
boy. Thank you. Take him for a walk.
Yeah.
But pets are lovely and they keep your mind occupied, but they obviously need some attention and they love to react to everything that's going on, don't they?
Yes, yeah, they like to let you know it's going on, yeah.
But
Very
just
vocal.
like,
But again, that's almost like a stress thing in a dog. It's like, oh, something's happening, got to tell you. And it's almost like a stress state for them as well, isn't it?
but don't you think that's what we're doing at the moment? A lot of us are reacting to what's happening instead of going, what can I do for me? How can I help myself to prevent this happening?
Yeah.
So, you know, bringing in that mindset is like, right, I'm safe today. I can work with this. You know, if everyone around me is worrying, let's all go into a state of prayer. And for me, I bought a lovely little book. Well, actually, Paul bought it for me for Christmas. And in here, I put a list of everybody who is suffering, struggling, worrying, all my problems in there as well. And all of these people, every time I sit down and light a candle each day, I'm actually sending healing to those people.
Oh, that's a lovely idea.
So on a spiritual level, what I'm doing, I'm rising myself up to help those people.
That's a really nice idea. Oh,
yeah.
lovely.
And it's so simple. We can all do it. Everybody can, you know, buy a little book and put, you know, some names down, and everyone can light a candle. And if we have those really simple little things which are about self-help, you are actually working in harmony with yourself as opposed to against yourself.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like Barney, we're not reacting to things. We're actually in a better space when one thing's happened.
Yeah. Wow.
So, you know, it is simple. Sometimes I forget and sometimes I'll react and I'll take a deep breath and I'll go, oh, goodness sake, Dawn, and just smile about it and laugh about it because, you know, sometimes I've got to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes it goes pear-shaped and I have a right old ball and shout. You know, I'm human, I hope. You know, as long as I'm down here, things have got to go wrong. But everything that we're going through is actually, it's not out of our control. It's within our power to actually bring it back to a place where we feel centered. And if we can do that, if we can do that, and then something does happen to someone around us, we've actually just got that one thing to deal with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And it is about breaking it down.
Fault for that, for being well overloaded with too many thoughts at once. And I remember my son, it's quite funny actually, because when he moved house, he's very much focus on one thing at a time and struggles to focus on two or three at a time. But for me, I've made a career out of being able to do that. And I'm like, okay, so we've got to go and get the furniture, got to get the carpets, got to get the paint, got to get the curtains. We'll do it in this order. We'll go and see that person. We've got to ring up that. Like, how do you do all of that? That's what I get paid to do. It's I'm an organizer by career. But when it comes to home life, and you're doing it at work and at home, and you don't stop, It's like, oh my God, you burn out. You
Yeah.
really do burn out very
Yeah.
quickly.
Absolutely. And, going with that, what you've just said, Kay, as I try, if something goes pear-shaped in my day, I'll try and process it right there and then. I'll either respond to it or sometimes I react, and that's okay.
Mm.
Because, sometimes it's necessary to have a good shout at something, isn't it? Or, get off your chest, as they say, have a good old whinge.
Yeah.
But then I try to, I'm not a clock watcher, but if something's gone wrong, I'll try to look for the top of the hour. And at the top of the hour, I'm going to change this and turn it around. So I
Okay.
break my day up into hour segments if, there's a lot going on in my life.
Ah,
So that hour might not have gone as well as it could have done, but let's start again now. Like it's a new day, a new
right.
beginning.
So where a lot of people, and I know Matthew's,
Yeah.
I think Matthew's is true. He forgot a phone call today. I think they're running a little bit behind us on the mainstream. Yeah. Again, Matthew was one of those people. As a child, he would say,
Yeah.
"I've had a really bad day, and it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
One thing's gone wrong, and that was it. The whole day was ruined." So I
Yeah.
like that actually. Is if something's gone wrong, it's
Yeah.
only the hour that's ruined. That's a
Yeah.
really good way of breaking it
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
And then when you feel ready, you can reflect on that later in the day and go, how could I deal with that differently next time?
Yeah.
And also praise yourself. And I think this is a word I would say for anybody: praise yourself for acknowledging it went wrong.
Yeah.
Don't just muddle through and go,
Yeah.
oh, whatever. Just go, oh, well done me for actually noticing that.
Yeah. And you know what? If things don't go wrong and nothing ever happens, we whinge about being bored.
Give me a board moment,
You
please.
know,
Okay.
we all want the balance somewhere in the middle, but we like
Yeah.
challenge, we like excitement, we like change. But when change happens, we go, ah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Absolutely.
just having them in a structure. In like you said, if you can break it down, deal with one at a time, and
Yeah.
reduce the stress levels on loads of things. Focus on one. I like that, and get that oxytocin. Do you know what? You're full of so much wisdom tonight. I'm just going to sit back and leave it with you.
Okay. Okay. I mean, join in, because otherwise I'll think she might have nodded off over there. Okay. But no, but for me, you see, I'd had to learn to do this over the years because I used to suffer really badly with stress, anxiety, and panic attacks. And as a child, I was really unwell. I wouldn't say all the time, but the majority of the time, I was trudging back and forth to the doctors, for what was called physical problems at the time. But as I got
Yeah.
older, that became more emotional and mental problems.
Mm.
So I have a very awareness of how easily I can tip myself over the edge by letting myself get stressed.
Yeah.
And I think at the moment, the stress and the anxiety of uncertainty and indecision and are we right or are we wrong? Are we feel guilty about this? Should I do this or shouldn't I do this? Is actually, that is the biggest stress at the moment.
Mm. Yeah.
And, you know, we cannot afford to be ill. We cannot afford to be stressed if we are going to keep rising up to help us deal with what's going on around us.
Yeah. And it is. I was going to say something then, and when it comes into your head and it's gone just as quick.
That's a blonde moment, I
Come
call
back
it.
to that thought. I just say, hi Rachel, it's another Rachel in the room tonight. Hi, nice to see you, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone completely. It was one of those brain cells that lasted about 2 seconds, flashbang and gone again.
That's okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Okay. But what I would say, Kay, is for whatever happens, just be really gentle on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't actually push yourself to go, oh, for God's sake, look what I've done. I'm an idiot. I'm this and that. Because we all do it, that awful mind spin, which takes us down into a place where maybe someone when we were kids said that, or someone in our previous relationship told us that. And it's not long before we then start feeling disappointed and despondent. If
Yeah,
we
that's
can
a
knock
very
it on the
easy
head,
path to go down.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a very easy path to go down.
Yeah.
One where you reflect on what everybody else has judged you for
Yeah.
instead of yourself. And
Yeah.
it's not like you're saying about the 2 tracks at the station. Stay on your own track.
Stay on your own track. And,
Yeah.
be gentle on yourself as you're going through that. Because, life is life. And we can't change what's going on around us. But what we can do is center ourselves with maybe we'll do a little meditation in a moment if we could.
Good idea.
A nice gentle one that just bring people into center. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, set this goal over this next week that will break the day up into little hour segments so that we're not trying to deal with everything at once. And each hour, maybe we could write down one thing that we'd like to accomplish, overcome, or work through.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And when you've done it, say, well done, me. Thank you. Or if it's not actually happening just yet, put that back in the shelf. Just leave it there for a moment. Or my friend used to call it, put it back in the jam jar, she used to say.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Back in the jam jar. I've got plenty of them in the kitchen.
Just leave it there for now, because just maybe the time isn't right for it. But when we keep pushing and pushing and pushing to do something, then it's like someone standing behind us, beating us and pushing us and going, you've got to do it, you've got to do it. So then we're back in that feeling attacked again.
Yeah.
So it's very much about being aware of what's going on around you, but more about how you're responding to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We all have a choice in how we respond, and you could have exactly the same situation, 3, 5, even 10 people around, and they all respond differently.
Yeah,
they always will.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this kind of fits with a little project that we started last year, okay, where we were talking about encouraging parents and teachers and carers to talk about how they're feeling, because I can't imagine what a child feels like going through right now. Well, I do know a few children I'm working with who are struggling because they don't know how to react to all this. Parents are telling what they need to do, but how many parents are saying, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, not enough.
No.
Yeah,
And
but
you know,
it's very true. Yeah.
And my little grandson, I said to him, I said, how do you feel about this? You know, back to school tomorrow. He said, well, actually, Nanny, so I'm a bit worried about this. He said, because what if I get ill and then I can get ill and my nanny dies, because he's got a nanny who's even older than me. So, you know, what if she dies because I got ill? He said, that's scary, isn't it? And for a child to be thinking like that, it shouldn't have to be like that.
And I think there's a lot of children this year that will be worrying. And it's very easy for parents to dismiss it and just sort of give them little explanations, but not actually say, how do you feel, or what, is there anything you're worrying about? I mean, my little grandson today, I spoke to him as well, bless him, and he's like, I really love school and I want to go to school, but I can't go yet. But they're going to change the classroom and make it better. So when we go back, I'm going to be really excited, he's saying. So yeah, my daughter's told him it's all about they're going to take more time to make the classroom safer. So,
and I think, you know, it's important that everyone talks about how they're feeling right now, because I think a lot of people are lonely, even if they're in a relationship, because they're not facing up to how they're feeling right now.
Yeah.
And you know, what do you do about it? Talk it out, talk it through. You know, we might not always like, you know, Paul, he has a good old, you know, whinge. Can I say whinge? Because he's a man, for goodness sake. Okay, you know, but he has a good old whinge about this, that, and everything. And sometimes I want to go, oh, for goodness sake. But actually, do you know what? If you don't talk it through, how do you ever release that from your body?
Yeah, you don't.
You never feel validated or heard, do you?
No, it is important to talk, but you have to speak to the right people as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Not everybody will be the right person to listen to you.
Yeah.
You can talk to as many people as you like, but it's the one that listens that makes the difference.
Yeah.
That's the thing I found, especially when I was going through a lot of stress, sort of 5-10 years ago. I was going through quite a lot of stress. There were a couple of managers one in particular, who would literally say, like, office talk, I need you to stand there and listen. It'd only be a couple of minutes, but that made so much more difference than anybody else I could have talked to for an hour that day. Because he was purposefully listening to me rather than me talking to him. It was the focus on him listening, and it just took the stress away. And sometimes that's all you need. So as much as we need to talk, who can we listen to as well, and just give them that safe space to talk? And then that includes, like you say, children, no matter what age they are.
And I would say also, Kay, just adding to that, is sometimes if you're talking to someone, they may not have the answers that you're looking for. No. And you know, if you feel like you're not getting the response you want from that person, or that person's not engaging with you, don't take it personally, because that person may not know how to deal with what you're going through.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So maybe you need to reach out to somebody else, like, I've got a good sister, or I've got a good friend who I'd rather talk to. Because, you know, Paul, I'm sure he loves me to bits, I know he does. But, you know, some of my stuff, what I worry about, goes over his head. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's important.
Good at that. I had a lot of years of that.
It's not that he doesn't care, but at the moment, him and I are kind of slightly different places.
Yeah.
So the things that are bothering me, he probably thinks I shouldn't be even worrying about that. But yeah, that's it. End of story.
but they are
And
relevant for you. They're valid worries for you until you resolve them or find a way to let go of them. Yeah. So
absolutely.
telling other people that's the other thing is that when people say, "Oh, you shouldn't be worrying about that," or "That's not worth thinking about." Well, I am thinking about it. I am worried about it. So why are you dismissing it? So obviously that's then, if they're giving you that advice, that's the wrong person to talk to.
Yeah.
Find the right person.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's,
but
we
it's
all
not
need
worth
to be
arguing
validated.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Kay. I talked over you
The
there.
thing is, I would say that brings up a lot of arguments in relationships as well when people are like that with each other.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
about recognizing that, isn't it? That actually it's not
yeah,
that they're trying to be horrible in the relationship, it's that
yeah,
they don't know how to resolve it. So they say
yeah,
those things, but actually they just don't know how to help.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
And for me, I've been really, really fortunate because I understand about Reiki healing and I know how I can center myself. But I think a lot of people out there, that all of this, holistic stuff is still that foreign subject, isn't it?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we didn't talk much about the Reiki last time because we talked more about the Bach
yeah,
flower remedies, didn't we?
yeah,
The
we
spiritual
did. Yeah,
healing side.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
would like to talk about the remedies in a minute, but I want to say for anyone who's listening to this, you all have the ability to help change your mindset by just changing your thinking. And that actually then triggers a chain reaction in your body. I always work with colors because colors to me are just fascinating. I just love the way, like today I'm turning up my turquoise jumper because I'm talking about things. And last week I need more confidence, so I chose yellow. Colors to me make a real big difference in your life. Okay.
Yes,
So I would
absolutely.
say to someone, if you're feeling a little bit stressed right now, think of a color in your mind. You don't have to necessarily see it, but think about it. And with every breath, breathe that color into your body. Imagine it gathering up all that stress in your mind, in your heart, in your stomach, in your legs, in your hips, your legs, wherever it be, and blow it out. Just blow it away. And just breathe into it. Imagine it being all surrounded in that beautiful color and blow it away. And, for some people, it might sound a little bit like, whoa, that's a bit fairy hairy up there. But actually, do you know what? As soon as you start doing something for yourself, you start producing those healing chemicals. Your body thinks that you're being cared for. So that brings in the endorphins, which brings in the care. And so you feel supported. And it all starts with you.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, just reflecting on that, because you saying people think it's a bit woo-woo and that we're talking about all the positive thinking. But actually, if you think about the opposite side to that, is if you don't do that, you will do the opposite. And that is you get stressed or you get angry or you get sad, and that all releases all the other chemicals. So if you don't do the positive thinking and you don't do all the little techniques and strategies that help release the oxytocin, the endorphins, then you will be subjecting yourself to all the other stress chemicals. So that's the thing. And I think so many people worry about the stress chemicals and worry about, worry about worrying. Worry about being
Absolutely.
angry, worry about being upset, and worry about being depressed. But actually, when you just focus on that, you automatically start to rebalance that chemistry. And I'm with you 100%, because you
So
have
it's
a
really
choice.
about the choices that you make. It's
Yeah.
about making different choices through the day. And, when I was actually going through a really stressy state, I was actually, I'm trying to think of a particular time right now, but I didn't want to go and sort of describe what happened. But I actually was very aware how quickly my mind can flip from Miss Happy Nice, Miss Love and Light to Miss, I want to kick someone in the head. Okay. And, as part of my Scorpio, if someone upsets me, I want to upset them. And I have worked on that a lot over the years. But, it's part of me. It's a part of my shadow self. It's part of my, being out of balance. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I find myself going there, I take a deep breath in and go, come on, Dawn, you can do this. So be my own best friend. Talk to me as if like you were talking to me, Kay. Start talking to myself as if I'm nurturing myself back to a place where I can understand me again.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one of those brain cells just went and gone again. I was going to say about the flip sides again. It was something about the flip side of things.
Yeah.
I'll come back to it.
Okay. Well, tell me if it comes back.
I said I've had one of those weeks this week. I've just my stress levels have been high this week, and this is what happens. I know what it was. It's gone again.
Have you got a notebook and paper there, Kay?
I'm going to write it down. It was about It will come back to me. I am really having one of those weeks this week, which is bad enough on the best of weeks, but today it's just like my brain cells are hardly firing together. Anyway, I'll let you continue. Sorry.
But that's what stress does to us. It actually blanks a part of the brain, because when you're in a stress space, like your primitive state of survival, a
Yeah.
part of the brain shuts down because there isn't room for all of that other thinking. If a big bear was coming to chase you right now, you wouldn't stop and think, oh, do I need a wee, or should I eat something first? You just run for hell, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So part of the brain shuts down. And when we're stressed already, basically there isn't space for something else that's going to worry you.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So doing that
Yeah.
simple little exercise, and I've got another little one. I'm not sure how long we've got, Kay. So I'm watching the clock. I don't want to.
Half an hour yet.
Okay. So when we're in that center space, so breathing, and imagine ourselves just filling up with lovely colors and letting go of all that stress. Just try it for 2 minutes each night as you go to bed, or if you wake up in the night, and when you wake up in the morning, give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. Okay. But when you're in that more centered space and something happens, you're dealing with just that one thing. Instead of that emotion plus that thought plus that feeling. And then one more happens and we go, wow, there we go, over the top again.
Yeah.
And it is about managing it, really, with the choices that we make.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely managing stress, and I've not managed mine very well this week. But do need to. I've had a terrible week, but I do need to start doing some of the things.
It's about saying, well, okay.
So much sense. Yeah. I talk about
So,
understanding
just for a moment,
separate to actually overcoming them. I think you've frozen up now, Dawn.
I think it's more about sometimes we won't overcome them immediately. They're not immediately going to go away. But actually, if we start processing, why am I thinking this? Is this real? Is this true? Do I really mean this? And then looking how your body's reacting, and then breathing some love into that space. Oh, sorry, tummy, I've upset you again. Breathe in, love my tummy. Thank you for showing me that I'm getting stressed again. Because that's my weak point, is my tummy. If I'm upset, my tummy goes wobbly. That's it.
Yeah.
And then all sorts of complications.
Yeah.
So listening to what your body's telling you. Okay. And if you can actually have some compassion for yourself, it actually helps you to feel supported again. And it's all really about self-support. It's about you empowering yourself to feel supported, loved, cared for, appreciated, respected, all those words that we don't use for ourselves. And yet I bet you've got friends that you would say how much you love them, you respect them, you care for them. How many times do you say that to yourself each day, Kay?
I try to when I remember. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Most people will tell everybody else they love them, and then say, I hate myself, I don't like how I look, I hate my clothes, I hate my job, and I'm not clever enough, smart enough, I'm not eating right, and people will destroy themselves. But you wouldn't say that to somebody else. Well, some people would say anything to anybody, but you know what I mean. But yeah, most people would literally in return self-destroy themselves vocally, whether they say it out loud or think it in their head. And it does. And when you do that, you're creating those stress chemicals in yourself for what you're saying about yourself, in the same way as if someone else has said it to you. So yeah, you're right. You need to focus on loving yourself. I've been making a lot more effort to do that this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've come a long way this year, Kay, haven't you?
Yeah, there's been a tough one. Yeah. I had
But
lots
you've
of
done well.
reasons to feel very negative about myself last year, and it has taken a very, very purposeful effort to turn that around. But it is possible. That's the thing. It's possible. I still have wobbly days. I really do. I still have days where I just like go and sit down away from the computer for an hour and I can have a cry. I just think that you have to let it out now and again, and so you go down that reflection path, and then sometimes you have to acknowledge that and say, okay, I feel like this, let it go, and then pick yourself up and do something on purpose for yourself again. So
little things like treat yourself. Like for me, I love going for a walk, and I'll go and stand under a tree, and maybe this will be a good time to do a little meditation, maybe just a simple one, which that's one of my favorites. And I just love nature, and because I work with the flower remedies as well, which I'd like to talk about in a bit, because I think they would help a lot of people. As one of my favorite trees is the oak trees. And I've got a few where I go for walks, and I'll just go purposefully to find this oak tree, and I'll stand underneath the oak tree. And I normally got my little dog as well. And I'll stand there and I'll just lean my back against the tree.
Yeah.
Okay. So just for the moment, if you just entertain me and imagine that you're leaning back against a tree, and you're just leaning back in that tree, and it's almost like that tree is just wrapping itself around you. And when you touch the trunk of the tree with your hands, you can feel the roughness of it, but it feels quite comforting because you're using your fingertips, which triggers parts of the endorphins in the brain.
Oh.
That's kinesthetic healing, so it helps to trigger parts of the brain. Okay. So you're feeling that tree, you're feeling at one with it, and you lean back against the tree and you talk to it. Basically, in your mind, I just talk to it and say, please, Mr. Tree, will you take away all this, whatever I'm feeling? And I imagine that I'm standing there and I'm melting into this tree and just breathing into my pain, into my torment, and I let it go. Imagine it flowing down through my feet, out into the roots, down into the ground and away. And then breathing into my head, surrounding those feelings and letting them go. And, it doesn't take many seconds or minutes even before I can actually feel like, that massive sigh. Because what I'm doing, I'm saying I can't hold all of these feelings. I'm taking responsibility for myself. I'm empowering myself by saying, I want to get back to who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm letting it go. I'm giving it back to Mother Earth. Sometimes I'll take it further and I'll imagine all the suns come down, imagine the sun. We have to imagine it then, the sun's coming down through all the tree and it's, covering me and filling me. And it's like this beautiful sensation of being at peace with yourself again.
Yeah, sounds lovely. Yeah.
And if you can do that, whether you can do it physically, against a tree, or whether you're sitting in your lounge doing it, or laying on your bed, standing at the kitchen sink, whatever it is, your mind actually associates that with your time out.
Yeah,
And
that's a
it's
good
so,
idea. Yeah. So if you can't actually be out in nature, then imagine it and find a way to create that sensation of being there.
yeah,
And your mind doesn't know the difference to your mind. It's just accepting the scenario rather than the
it,
reality. Yeah.
it's your safe place.
Yeah. I
And,
must
for
admit,
me,
when
sorry.
it's warm enough, I like to do something very similar, but I like to go and put my hands into running water, like in a stream or in the
Yeah,
ocean, like, somewhere where there's water, and let the water just take all the troubles
yeah,
away. But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not an easy thing to do every day.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But what you could do, Kay, is like in the morning when you have a shower or in the evening, whenever it is, imagine you're standing on the shower. And sometimes, I like to just daydream and imagine that I'm standing under a waterfall and everything that doesn't belong to me, I'm just letting it flow down the plug hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just letting it come in. Instead of just washing around my body, it's washing through my body and I'm letting it go. And I'll stand there and I'll just shake it off. Sometimes I'll have my favorite music on or radio station on and I'm just singing along and, singing, moving, washing it off. And I come out of the shower and it's not just about cleaning your body, it's about feeling cleansed inside.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I think that's the thing, is just allowing your mind to actually acknowledge that you don't need to be holding on to all of that stress.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you say, just let all that go and then just think of that one thing you need again. And yeah, so many different strategies can be used.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think for every individual, they've got to find the one that works for them. So if that's not quite the one and you prefer being in a flower garden, go through and touch the flowers or whatever, and whatever. But everybody's got a slightly different way of doing it. But it's about the concept of it, isn't it, rather than the exact image.
Yeah. It's about
That safe place in your mind to let go of all the excess,
yeah,
all the excess
it
baggage. Yeah.
absolutely. It's giving your mind that space to say, this is a safe place for me to go.
Yeah.
And I can visit that as many times as I need to in the day. It's
Yeah.
my space. It's my space. It's my, it's my soul that needs healing. It's my body. It's my mind. And I'm worth it. I think that's the value you put on yourself because you're actually taking that time for you.
That sort of comes back around to what you were saying earlier about primitive mind and sort of our caveman days. We would have focused on stress to run away from things, and
Yeah.
then we'd have gone hidden in a little cave and gone, okay, I'm now in my safe space. But in today's world, we're going through the stress, but without running to the little cave apart from our house, and very often that we're carrying that stress around the house. So it's about, like you said, about the same, it's about using that primitive knowledge to create the same emotional cycle, and not get stuck in the emotional cycle, actually allow it to complete, and actually come full circle, and then focus on the next thing and start again.
And recognizing that you're worth it, because if you phone me up and said I've got a problem, I'll sit and listen to you for hours. But how many of us give ourselves that little bit of time for ourselves?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay.
I did this weekend. I took 2 whole days out and did like virtually nothing to give myself time to sit and rejuvenate after a stressful week. But I think I'm still rejuvenating at the moment. I think give it another day or two, my brain would have caught up with the rest of me again. But yeah.
We need that time, and we need to be valued. And I think often we wait for someone around us to appreciate us, or give us that space or that time or that nurturing. If we nurture ourselves, then the value and the worth that we feel for ourselves goes up.
Yeah.
And for most of us, I'm not going to say nobody appreciates us. That's not true. But what we're putting out there and what comes back in, often there's no balance in between, is there? Yourself, as a carer, as a whatever we do, a lot of the time you're giving, and we don't wait for the appreciation to come in, but you just have to know that you've done a good job.
Yeah. Actually, again, you saying about stress and time to heal. Physically, if we push ourselves to the point where aching, you can't move, or your muscles hurt, and you feel physically fatigued, we naturally go and rest, or try to go and rest, because your body needs to heal. But we don't allow ourselves the same for our mind. And your mind goes through all of life's stresses in exactly the same way as it would physical stresses. And we talk about it in the same way, about how things, feelings are a bit bruised this week, or somebody said something and that cut a bit deep. We talk about bruises and cuts, and I feel a bit hurt by what they said. That's the same kind of sensation of emotions being stressed and damaged, but we need to let them heal. And that's the thing, a lot of people just still keep trying to plod on and plod on and plod on with injuries, mental injuries, and emotional injuries. And sometimes we do need to just stop and let them recover.
Absolutely. Because I know for myself, a lot of my emotional pain actually ended up as physical pain. That's how I ended up with the anxiety, the irritable bowels, and the whatever you call it in the stomach. It's like, if I'd have known that back then, could I have prevented it? I don't know. But actually, I'd like to think I could have given it a go.
Yeah.
And
I still think I can cure that one, or at least reduce that one.
Yeah. Well, at least we can manage it, can't we? We can start to manage it, or listen to what your body's telling you and take that time to value what's going on. And then we can actually work on healing it, or go and reaching out for some healing, or ask them for some distant healing at the moment, because we're obviously all locked down. But, it's just about saying, what is important here? If I'm in a good place, if I'm charged up, if I'm feeling good about me, and then I've got more to give to my children, to the people who want help, life becomes better just because you are feeling better about yourself.
Yeah, really good place to start. Yeah,
absolutely. Is it okay, Kate? I just want to talk a little bit about the flower remedies, because I know a lot of people know about them, but I think for a lot of people it's also still a mystery. Okay, because the bark flower remedies, which are there's 38 bottles. I've got 2 boxes of them, but I can't lift them up together. Okay. Each of these bottles, I'm looking at the camera and which way am I going? Okay, so each of these bottles,
it's all over the place, isn't it? All back
each
to
of these, each of these bottles is a different state of mind or a different emotion. Okay, so if I was doing a little test with you today, I think we did that last time. Yes. Basically, we look at how are you feeling today, and the bottles that you need will show up as a negative. And I do a little, use my pendulum, which I'm not going to do today because that's a little bit. I don't want to focus too much on these, but I do want people to know there is a choice. So, say for example, I was feeling anxious today, I would use like aspen, which is for fear of the unknown, because I don't understand what's going on. I'd use mimulus, which is for known fear of illness, and I'd elm maybe for being overwhelmed by responsibilities. And I'd probably add in there, say, red chestnut, because I get over concerned for other people.
Okay, yeah.
And those remedies, those 4 remedies, will give me strength. They will give me a little bit more feeling safe and trusting in the process. They'll give me a feeling of trusting and sending out good vibrations for people that I know are unwell or unhappy. But they'll also give me a feeling of being able to cope with what I'm dealing with. So what they do, they help to, I won't say they override your mindset, but they help to soothe your mindset to a place where you feel more able to deal with what's going on.
Yeah. Mm.
And
That makes
it's,
sense.
it to me, it's magic. When I first heard about these, I was on antidepressants and I was actually got resectioned in the hospital. And that's how, thank God, there for the grace of God go I was actually, somebody had introduced me to these 2 years previously. And then it took me 2 years to reach out for help. So I do know there's a time lapse often between someone offering help and you receiving it.
Yeah.
But each of these bottles actually is, to me, it's like a little emotional, mental first aid kit.
Yeah.
And if anyone is struggling right now, I would say either go to Boots the Chemist, you can go online, you can go to the supermarket and get them, or you can reach out to me and I can make you a little mix bottle, which is actually appropriate for what you're experiencing right now.
Oh.
And technically, I don't want to go into how they work, but some people say, is it placebo? Is it not? No, it's not placebo. These work. These have helped me through so much stress, and they've helped so many people, children, adults, and people right at the end of their lives who have felt out of balance to come back to a place where they can see things more clearly. And what Dr. Park said is when there's a void between your thinking and who you are, is when dis-ease sets in.
Yes.
Okay. And it's the dis-ease is where we feel like we're dipping. Our energies go down, we feel tired, we feel weary, our body starts to feel out of sorts. And then our emotional mind starts going off on a tangent. And often we don't feel in control.
Yeah.
And for me, the remedies help me bring back that balance where I can see things more clearly, where I can see more optimistically, where I can deal with things one step at a time.
Yeah.
And, my passion for these has been, I've been using them for over 30 years now. And I just think every day I'm just absolutely amazed at how someone can, it's almost like switch a light bulb on. It's like peeling away that dark shadow and going, hang on, look at it this way. I just love the remedies. I think everyone should have one of these in their cupboard.
I think that's incredible. You've been doing it for so long. That's amazing. To have such a passion for it. And I know you did do me some before Christmas when I was doing the book. And yeah, I found myself regularly throughout the day, like getting overwhelmed, going to the little bottle, and I'd not read the label properly, so I was putting 4 drops time on my tongue instead of 2. I just put it there and I just left it sat there on my tongue, and it was like, oh, and it was just like a mindset reset for a few seconds, but about 10-15 seconds. And it was like all the stress I'd been building up trying to write the content, and it just suddenly like, right, whoa, hang on a minute, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm getting stuck, just stop, reset. And it was the moment I managed to get those stress levels down again, just in seconds, it was like, right, I can get on again now. It was just like completely feeling refreshed. I don't know if I thought I had the bottle here somewhere. I thought I did.
But, to me, it's like it doesn't matter what you're going through. It's our reaction to it that causes the problem. And I think this is where the remedies, I still use them regularly now, just
Yeah,
because I prefer myself and I feel better in myself when I'm in a better place.
yeah,
They're not addictive, but if I'm feeling out of sorts or feeling agitated or frustrated or worrying or concerned about something, I want to know what's going on. I'm one of these people, I need to know what's happening. I don't want just to fix it. I want to know what's happening. And just by looking at my remedies from the pendulum, it gives me an understanding of what I'm experiencing.
yeah.
And I think half the trouble is at the moment with people is they don't understand what they're feeling.
No, that's a very good point, actually, and comes right back to that emotional awareness. Awareness is very often linked with understanding, and if you're not aware and you don't understand, how are you going to know to even go and get help or what to ask for help was? If you don't know and you don't understand, how do you know where to go and get help? And that's great to talk to people like yourself. So we go to a doctor and they'll say, oh, antidepressants. They come to you, you'll give people other remedies, but you're more likely to talk to somebody about all of those other subtle feelings and everything. Just by the way, if anybody's having problems watching tonight or have had problems with it freezing, I'm really sorry, because I'm aware that while Dawn's been talking about the the flower remedies, when you brought them up onto screen, that's only just come up to screen on the other computer. So that's
Okay.
running several minutes behind. So I'm hoping people haven't got frozen out tonight. But
Okay.
yeah, sorry, coming back to that.
Okay. But I think everybody, if we actually feel like we've got choices, then we feel more empowered.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And obviously with the remedies, there's a little bit of an investment. You can buy them in the shop, I think, for about £5 each, or I'll make if someone said they've seen this tonight, I'll do a special discount if you'll cover the cost of postage. Because I think there are so many people out there who, if they had a choice, they don't want to be feeling stressed.
No, they don't. Yeah.
The stress has
That
become a way of life, and they don't know that there's a way out.
that was what I was going to say earlier about the stress. And there's about 3 times tonight that's gone, it's come back and it's gone again. And it's like the sentence is almost in my head. It's like keeps coming back to me and it's gone again every time. I've got this particular thought in my head that just stuck there. It won't quite come out.
Is it there yet?
People say, when I get rid of my problems, I'll feel happier. That's what it was. But actually, you have to focus on being happier to get rid of the problems.
Yeah.
And people look at it the wrong way around. I got there in the end. Way we got.
Hey. And at the perfect time. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of looking at getting rid of the problems to feel happier, focus on being happier, and the problems will start to resolve themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. But can I just say, because I'm not being flippant and saying, I know there's a lot of people there's people worrying about their children being in school or not being in school, and they're worrying about work and they've lost their jobs, and people are ill. I'm not being flippant about all that. I've experienced all of that, but I know there are ways that we can bring better balance so that we can deal with what's going on around us. And then, heaven forbid, if you do get unwell, you deal with that thing. You're in a better place, and your body's in a better place to actually start healing itself.
Yes, that's important because so many of us are at risk this year of becoming unwell in a way that we just don't want to talk up. We don't want to even begin to talk that one up. But I've got a friend who's down with it at the moment, and she's been very poorly with it this week. But yeah, it's unthinkable what can happen. I've got another friend who has just lost a relative through it. So yeah, it's so worrying at the moment. And especially with the second strain coming in across the nation, it is rising rapidly. And literally in my local area, we've now gone extremely high for a small population. The numbers have gone up quite rapidly. So it's quite worrying to even leave the house now. So again,
maybe
coming back to gratitude to what you have got at home, that you have got your health, you are safe, who you've still got in your family, and so on. So again, coming back to those gratitudes as well, really, really important. Yeah.
And knowing that you've got choices, you can reset your mind by resetting your thinking and just doing small. Most of this is free. Everything I've spoke about today is free, apart from the remedies. Obviously, it's a little investment there.
Yeah.
But that's the value you put on yourself. If you're willing to invest in yourself, then you've got to get another answer, aren't you? The more we value ourselves, the easier life becomes, because the value we put in ourselves is what we attract in.
Yeah, absolutely. A value is really important. And value is something that's very often put down as a monetary value, but it's about more than that.
So much more
Value,
than that.
value is such a massive concept in itself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're so focused on this mindset of what we're worth as an hourly rate, or what we've got to be worth by the time we die and leave money to the kids, or do we have to own our own house, or should we have a job or a career, should we be salaried, should we there's so much focus on the monetary value that adds so much stress that we forget to look at all the other values, the value of our health, because if you don't look after your health, how can you earn an hourly rate if you can't go to work? So it's your health has value, and you're going to work, and your emotions are the same. If your emotions are not in the right place and you go to work and you're stressed and you're yelling at everybody, chances are you could lose your job. What value is it then? And again, your logic, how you think and feel, and your own thoughts and biases within a job will have value in how you get promoted or get cut out of jobs. And and again, how good you are at socially connecting with people, getting on with other people. They're all values. They're all really important to nurture, and valuing yourself as well.
Yeah, it all starts with, if you start putting a value on you and dedicating some time for you each day, your feelings of self-worth goes up, and then you start producing all the good healing chemicals, and your mind starts believing that you are worth it.
Yeah.
It takes time, but your mind starts working with you instead of against you.
Yeah, I've got something here I can share briefly for that, actually. I can't remember if I showed this on yours before. We're talking about positive things and affirmations, and if I can get the camera right now, I did a list of affirmations earlier this year, back in the summer, when I was in a really bad place, and I had very little self-worth, as I just moved in here in the flat. And I'd lost so much last year that I couldn't find my self-worth. And so I started with this list of affirmations, and I put them on the wardrobe door by the bed on the mirror. So every morning I got up, looked at them, and I read through them. And I read through them like, I love who I am. Love it. It's a sentence. When you start to read it, it feels like you're just reading something. I love who I am. I'm reading it. I'm organized. I'm smart and loving. And then as you do it, and if you repeat them, I love who I am. I love who I am. I love who I am. And you say, do you know what? I do love who I am. And you start to actually believe it, but you have to keep reading through it day after day. So as I worked my way through the list, over the space of about a month to 6 weeks, if I got to a point where I was reading one every day and thought, do you know what? I actually really believe that now, I was highlighting it yellow. And over the space of the 6 weeks, you can see I gradually highlighted them all yellow. I mean, you can tick them, you can underline them, do what you like, but it just reinforced it even further that actually, do you know what? It was just circumstances and other people's beliefs and judgments I'd let overwhelm me and overpower me. But it does help. And then look what I've achieved since then. It works. It genuinely does. And like you said, getting that oxytocin going, and that was quite extreme to have such a long list in the morning. But like I said, I really did set last year off on a purpose. But it absolutely works.
Just for yourself and for anybody who's listening, just praise yourself for the little steps that you do take, even if it's just having a shower or walking up the road or washing up. Those things are really important, because I know when you're stressed, you're upset, you're anxious, you don't even want to get dressed. No. For me, I saw the lockdown as first of all, I was a bit anxious about it because I don't like the thought of being ill again, because I've spent a lot of my life being ill. But when I actually got my head around that bit and sorting the remedies out and healing, I actually saw it as an opportunity. So I finished writing my book. So, my book Free to Be Me is with the publishers again, just waiting for them to adjust the pictures. So it's like, there is good within every situation. We just need to find the good within it.
Yeah. So you have another book coming out.
Yeah, Free to Be Me, it's called. And it's all about, remedies, and it's a lot about what I've talked about today, mostly free self-help, and recommending maybe other therapies where people could try, like hypnotherapy, or I think I'll go put your book in there as well, Kay, because I think what you've done for your son that's amazing.
Oh, thank you. That's out now. It's this one, Brain Unchained, as we're on the subject.
That's on my wish list.
On Amazon now. We're having the official launch on the 19th of January. So I've started a new group today for that. I got locked out of my other group. That was another thing this week. It was like, I somehow managed to get pushed out of my own Facebook group, because then I wasn't in the group to give myself the approval to go back in the group. So I'm stuck out of it. So I have to start a new group today.
Life will always throw us curveballs, and at the moment, if we can actually work a little bit harder on working on ourselves, it actually makes you feel better, and you can deal with whatever comes your way. And I always put in the analysis right at the end. It's like, if you're running a car right now and you never put petrol in it, you didn't put oil in it, and you didn't service it, how far do you think it would take you?
Not very far.
Why do we actually think our body should keep running without taking care of it?
And motivation and inspiration, particularly the motivation, is very much like that fuel tank that needs refilling. And that's the bit of us that needs that human interaction. And that's where in lockdown, we might be stuck at home, we might be on our own as we are, but that's where these groups are great. And it, not just my group, but there are groups all throughout the week, throughout the daytime, evening. There's lots of groups on Facebook with different subjects. Go and join in, and have what interaction we can with other people where we can.
Reach out, learn something new, join together. In. If you meet one new person every day, imagine who you could meet over the next year.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. There's a book about that.
That's quite amazing, isn't it?
Okay. I've got it on the shelf. I'll share that one briefly. Actually, I have done a review on this one, and I did the 28-day challenge. It's actually called 3 New People, but he's done another version of it called 1 New Person, by Brian Miller. And 3 New People, but it's all about meeting and connecting with new people, and it doesn't have to be in person, face to face. It can be online, but it's a really good. And he uses a system called EARS, and I can't remember what it is, about listening. But what he calls EARS, EARS, relates that to basically breaking down how we listen to people. But 3 New People by Brian Miller is a really, really good book. It's probably one of the few I've actually read cover to cover, to be honest. At some point, but that's a good one. But I'm looking forward to your book coming out, so free to be me.
Thank you. But can I just say before I go, okay, because I just want to say I'm really grateful for what you've done for us all with the mental health program, what you did last month. And for something simple, if anyone goes to my website and they've no idea where to start, like with mindset or meditation or anything like this, to help their self-worth, there's some really nice little. It's just me chattering away and a little bit of soft music, doing like guided meditations. Because if we actually start visualizing and imagining things happening, it starts triggering off that chain reaction of well-being. And if you go to my website, www.Chrystal, with an H, got an H in there, they're all free. And I just want people to know that, it doesn't matter where you start or how long it's taken you to get there. If you start doing something for you today, even if it's a 10-minute meditation, just listening to something, visualizing it, imagining it, you will start that journey of well-being right now.
Just like that, even by being here tonight.
Thank you.
And listening to this. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's been amazing having you back on the discussion tonight. And wow, it's not like we've even sat and repeated the last discussion. This has been like incredible. And I am really grateful to you for coming on and helping me out last minute. And I'm a speaker short again. And you've just stepped up so courageously today.
That was meant to be.
Filled the hour.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you to everybody who's listening today.
Thank you very much indeed. And just to share what we've got on next week, all going well again. At the moment, it's supposed to be. We'll see. Where did we get to? Julie Leonard next week, which is Be Extraordinary. I've got notes on the back. I can't remember why. I've got to get in touch with her. Julie Leonard. It's a Blue Monday. Next week is something to do with a Blue Monday. I'm going to have to go and look that one up and put notes in and set the StreamYard up a bit earlier next week. So yes, Blue Monday with Julie Leonard, Be Extraordinary. So that'll follow on lovely from tonight. I'm absolutely grateful for all of that. We didn't even get to talk about your new group work, so we might have to have you back another time. All the group work you're doing with Mum. So
when I get set up, I'll come and see you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, thank you so much, Kate.
So thank you very much to everybody who's watched in and taken part in the conversation tonight. Thank you so much. I know I haven't answered tonight and it has frozen up on screen, so I can't answer anything just yet. I'll come back to that in a minute. And it's been really, really lovely having people in and just joining in. Also, in the coming 2 weeks from today, it's 14 days from today to the launch of the book Brain Unchained. That it's out, they're available to buy, but we're going to be having a special offer on the Kindle version in 2 weeks. So that's all going to be a big run up over the next 2 weeks. Lots of information coming out and planning, and have lots of events online on the day like this.
Fantastic.
But lots of little short, different varied things. But thank you so much, Dawn, tonight, and thank you to everybody else. And we'll see you all again 7 o'clock next Tuesday for Be Extraordinary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Ed. Good night. Good night, everybody.